understand the role that prayer has in our communities. And I'm also here to make sure that my daughter knows, who came up and spoke earlier, not that I believe she's going to inherit a better world, but that she has to fight every single day of her life in order to make the world we all need and love. So I appreciate y'all taking some time to hear us, to hear the community, and I look forward to seeing all the folks who are in opposition, who have strong environmental issues. I look forward to seeing them at the next protest around environmental racism.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is Barbara Ryan. I'm an attorney and a writer and an activist who's lived in Oakland for most of my adult life. And I've known Wilson Riles and Pat St. Onge for many years, and I have always known them to be activists for social justice. What delineates them from many of the other people I know, and at times myself, is that they have always done that with a spiritual practice attached to it. They've always emphasized the essential nature of that fact, and they've never been otherwise. Now, I've gotten to know Pat St. Onge better recently because I'm a member of a group called 1,000 Grandmothers. We're based on the notion in the Holly Near song that if 1,000 grandmothers get moving, we can make almost anything happen. So we're fighting against climate change, and we work in close conjunction with Idle No More. You heard Penny Opal Plant addressing that. And Pat St. Onge is a member both of Idle No More and a member of 1,000 Grandmothers. So I've been to these events conducted by Idle No More that always start by calling us all relations. They always reach out to the police officers who are enforcing the law around these huge demonstrations, which include civil disobedience. They have conducted 14 healing walks over the last 4 years. 16. I was just at the last one. I couldn't believe the numbers, so I went down to 14. 16 healing walks between all of the refineries in the Bay Area in the last 4 years. They've just completed that cycle. They've gone to every refinery. When they started, nobody supported them but one truck driver driving into the refinery. When they've ended, people come out of their homes to thank them for the work they've done, both for the frontline communities in bringing down pollution, but also understanding the larger issues of climate change. And this is the work that Pat St. Onge spends a lot of her time doing. So how ironic it is for her to be chastised for one sweat lodge. I just want to say one word.
If you could wrap up soon, please. Thank you.
So I went through a hippie phase when I was a certain age, and, we did some sweat lodges without any religious consciousness. I encourage everyone to try a sweat lodge someday. I have never forgotten it. I want to do it again. It truly is a healing experience. Thanks for listening to all this.
Thank
I hope you uphold the appeal.
Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Sean Doolin. I live at 3717 Maybell Avenue. I'm a construction manager in Oakland. I acknowledge I've only lived here for a year, and I acknowledge the historical and all of the issues around the oppression that Native and Indigenous people have experienced for hundreds of years. I'd like to speak from my perspective, and with all due respect to everybody in this room, the majority of people in this room and who spoke before do not have to live near or on the property, which we do and live with on a day-to-day basis. I also would like to acknowledge with the commissioners that the goal is to work within the planning and zoning framework, which has already been established. A community member said that the sweats have never caused health issues. I'd just like to remind everyone that perhaps it's because smoke is a slow and silent killer and it takes years to result in death, just like secondhand smoke. And everyone understands, exposure and risk and the accumulation of that over time. I'd like to acknowledge Penny Opal Plant's comments towards, many sweats going on in other parts of the Bay Area, and nobody has issues with those sweats. So I think this really just